Hello, good morning, and a happy Sunday to you. On Wisdom Cube for relationships today, issues. We're looking at tasting. Yeah, tasting. Tasting. Let's just talk. This Valentine's season, roses are blooming, but behind the scenes, confusion is blooming also. Some singles are asking, if I don't taste, how will I know what I'm paying for? I was in a discussion with a friend last week, and this really got me while we were talking. What if I marry and discover he's impotent? What if she's frigid? What if I'm not satisfied? What if I get in and I find that it's not what I want, it's not what can keep me all through the marriage? These are some questions singles are asking. And then the married ones also, they whisper another story. They say, how can I be eating egusi every day? Variety is the spice of life. That's what they believe. I need something different. There's no way you can be eating egusi, okro. Every blessed day, I need something different. That's what even the married ones are saying. And so this issue of tasting becomes an issue that needs to be addressed. Let's slow down a little. When did love? I just want you to look into this, ponder on it. When did love become a supermarket sample stand? When did love become a supermarket sample stand? When did human beings become meals to be tested and replaced? You are a human being. So why thinking about the other person as far I need to test? Also know that somebody else may also want to test you. May also want to test if you are okay. So it's a vice versa something. So that's the reason why I asked this question. When did we humans become a supermarket stand? When did we humans become meals that need to be tested and replaced? When? Let me say something gently but very firmly. If you approach marriage with a testing mentality, you will never be satisfied. That's the truth. If you approach marriage with a testing mentality, there is no way you'll be satisfied in that marriage. Even after marriage, because testing is not about discovery. Testing is not about discovery. It is about curiosity without commitment. Yeah, that's what tasting is all about. You want to fly here like the butterfly. You perch on this petal, you perch on this petal, just like that. There is no commitment to what you're doing. You just want to check. You just want to check. It means that in the season of tasting, there is nothing like love. Yeah, there is no love attached to this thing called tasting. So in this period where you are going about, it's not really about you want to discover the uniqueness of the person. It's not really about you want to discover what makes this person someone that is just your thing. It has to do with you're just flying around, playing around. That's what it's all about. So it trains your appetite to wonder. That's what tasting does. It trains your appetite to wonder. And appetites that are trained to wonder do not suddenly become disciplined with a wedding ring. You've already trained your appetite as a marriage to wonder, to just meander around. When you get married, the ring will not keep you disciplined. If you are not naturally disciplined, or if you do not train your appetite, there is this thing I normally tell young ones when I counsel them concerning sex before marriage. As young ones coming up, there is every tendency that chemistry will begin to come up from the ages of 13, 14. Chemistry begins to come up. And many a times, parents do not know that they really need to, talk to their children about this thing. So what I normally tell young ones at this period is to let them know that, have you ever fasted before? Do you know what is fasting? Now, every one of us at one point or the other, we fasted. We've had to fast because of one thing or the other, whether a church program or instruction or whatsoever. We've had to fast. Now, in the period of fasting, when you're still in the time of fasting, there are periods that you just feel the hunger pang. It just comes so seriously. And what do you tell yourself? You tell yourself, I can't eat now, I just have to wait. And then you check the time and you say, after all, by 12 I'll be eating. After all, by 3 I can eat. And then you are able to discipline yourself. You hold that hunger. You control that feeling of hunger. Probably you go about praying, probably you go about watching a movie or doing one thing or the other. You go about doing one thing or the other that will take your mind off the hunger. That's one of the ways you discipline yourself, of course. And then when it comes to this issue of testing, discipline is the key word there. If you are not disciplined, that is when you talk about tasting. That is when you talk about, are there not egusi, okra, ogbolo? There are different varieties, and I just need to, wander about, fly around. Now let's be practical on this. Let's be practical. I want to talk directly to those who are not yet married. An unmarried man that you are. The fear of what if I marry and discover is usually not about sex. It's about insecurity. You're just insecure. You are afraid of making a permanent decision without a trial version. That's just the thing. But marriage is not a product warranty. It is a covenant. Marriage is not you're getting married to the perfect spec. Just like some person say, this is my spec, this is not my spec. Even when you get married to that your spec, you are not getting married to a perfect entity. You are not marrying an embodiment of perfection. So it's not about the testing before marriage, and then you find out that, wow, she can satisfy you very well. She's good in bed. She's good in that. That doesn't mean that forever, your forever in marriage will be like that. Marriage is a covenant. So there is really no need for this tasting. There is really no need. Sexual satisfaction is not just about body compatibility. No. It's about emotional safety. It's about communication. Without communication, sex will just be so bland. Without communication, you just come in and go out, just like that. So a lady you pick up today and she's good in sex, in the process of tasting, may not be compatible with you when it comes to communication. And that may affect your marriage as well. That may affect your marriage as well. So when we talk about sexual satisfaction, it goes beyond the bed. It goes beyond bed matches. Let me put it that way. It has to do with your emotional safety. That's one whom you can be vulnerable to. That's one you can be free. You can be all you can possibly be. You can be that baby. You can be open. You can shed tears before him or her. You can be yourself without judgment. It has to do with your communication. It has to do with patience. It has to do with teachability. Yes, marriage, relationship has to be with your ability to be open to be taught. We should be open to be taught. We learn every day. There is no one who knows it all. So it has to do with teachability. It has to do with selflessness. That is love. Love is about selflessness. If you're thinking about you in a relationship, my darling, you have not fallen in love. You are not yet in love. If you are in a relationship with someone and all you think about is you, there's no love. You are married and the other person is talking and you're concerned, all your attention is on you, what you want to do at that moment. You no attention whatsoever given to the other one to truly listen and know what he or she is saying. You throw his words away, you throw our words away as if it doesn't matter. There is no love in that relationship. That's the bonus anyway. So two emotionally mature people can grow into deep sexual fulfillment. Two selfish people, even if they taste before marriage, will still struggle after. Let's be honest, many who tasted before marriage are not automatically satisfied in marriage. That's the truth. That you tasted before marriage does not mean that you will be satisfied in marriage, because tasting does not build skill, it builds comparison. And comparison is the thief of commitment. Yeah, that's the truth. Comparison is the thief of commitment. You cannot be committed to someone who you keep comparing with someone else. It's not possible. Now, let's talk to the married now. Let's talk now. You that is married, as a married man or a married woman, you might be saying, how can I eat only egusi every day? I've discussed with several married men, and they keep saying this, using these words for me. How can I eat only egusi every day? And my question is it really the egusi that is boring? Or have you refused to learn new recipes? Egusi can be cooked in different ways, in different patterns. Yes, it is still egusi, but it comes in different ways. The egusi I cook today may be different from the egusi I cook tomorrow. The egusi I cook tomorrow may be different from the egusi you tasted last week. So long as that oneness is there, as long as that communication is there, as long as that emotional safety is there, as long as patience is there, as long as we are one in this. So it's not really about I'm eating egusi, but there are different recipes to egusi. That's the truth. One person can be an embodiment of all you desire. That is the truth. Yeah, as a man, you're looking at me, you're watching me, you're listening to me. I know you will say, you're talking as a woman. All women talk this way. Yes, that is what you will say. But the truth is, one person can be an embodiment of everything you've ever desired, so long as both of you are open to learn. That is it. There are different ways you can learn and explore one another. You can explore life together. Yes, Valentine is coming. How many of you, the married ones, have thought about how to give your wife a special treat this Valentine? I believe love should be every day, yeah? But at the same time, so many of us don't do it on a everyday thing. So, how many of you have really thought about how do I make this season special? Instead of just booking appointments with one girl or booking appointments with one male or the other, how many of you have thought about how do I make this Valentine spicy for my spouse? How many? So it's not just about she cannot be everything. I want to go and this baby, this guy, this like this. No. One person can be an embodiment of everything you desire if you will put in the efforts. That's it. It all takes the extra effort. There is this thing about extra. I was telling some persons last week, I think my staff last week, I was telling them that the truth of the matter is, when you go to a restaurant, have you ever noticed that? Have you noticed that that extra is as if that is the one that fills you up? You buy a full plate and then your eating is as if it's not going anywhere. But by the time you add for extra, it will seem as if that is what really fills you. There's this thing about extra, and that is what our relationships need. That's what our marriages need. That extra touch. That's going beyond the norm. That is about it. Going beyond the norm of I wake up in the morning, good morning, good morning. You eat in the morning, you eat in the afternoon, you eat in the evening, all 3 meals in the house, the same way it is served, the same everything, the same. And then even the comments you say, everything is still the same way you say. And so the other person is just used to the way you do it and the way you speak. And so before you talk, she's already going or he's already going, because he already knows that this is about it. There is no difference. You don't come up one morning and just begin to praise her. You don't come up one morning and just begin to say some kind of way. She doesn't serve you one day and you just take the food and you, without even testing it, you begin to praise her and a meal, or you just say and you send a text message to him to say, how I just want to be with my king this morning, or I miss my Lord, or I just want to, I want to see the young boy I got married 2 years back, or whatsoever that makes it a different recipe altogether. We're just so used to routine in our relationships. No crazy things being done. And the truth is, this is the reason why certain persons feel, how can I be eating egusi every day? You know, if you stop treating your spouse like a finished product and start seeing him or her as a garden, you will see everything you ever desire in that your spouse. That's a secret. If you stop treating her or him as a finished product, nobody is a finished product. I already said it. That person you get married to is not an embodiment of perfection, but he or she can have everything you desire in him or her. If only you will see him or her as a garden that needs to be nurtured, as a garden that can bloom different flowers, different things in it. Marriage is not about changing meals. It is about learning how to cook creatively with what you choose. Marriage is about learning how to cook creatively with what you chose. Whatever you've chosen, learn how to cook creatively with him, with her. The problem is not that one person is not enough. The problem is that modern culture has trained us to chase stimulation instead of depth. We're pursuing stimuli, feelings, instead of depth. That's the problem. That's the problem. You know, and the truth is stimulation fades, why depth satisfies. Let's talk about the root issue here. You know, we have confused experience with wisdom. We have confused exposure with maturity. And then variety with fulfillment. We're supposed to walk with wisdom. We're supposed to have this fulfillment that this satisfies me. This is my satisfaction. We're supposed to walk with this thing about maturity, be matured in our relationship, not the other way round. Valentine becomes a season of secret messages, emotional affairs, old flames reconnecting, just catching up, and private tastings. Let me ask you, if tasting truly satisfied, why are so many experienced people still empty? Yeah. Why are those who sampled many plates still restless? Because satisfaction is not in the body, it is in the soul. Now, what is the solution? As an unmarried person, the one thing you need to consider, one thing you need to stand on is that you need to be able to work on your emotional intelligence, your emotional stability, how you work with your emotions. You need to be able to ask real questions during courtship. When you're in a relationship, don't just keep your relationship on date nights, smiling at each other, looking at each other's eyes only. Don't just keep your relationship on, things that doesn't really count. Yes, all those things matters. But remember that it's not about just those things alone. You're looking at a lifelong thing. And so, you have to ask real questions during courtship. Discuss your sexual expectations maturely. Discuss your sexual expectations. How many times would you want to make love in a week? How is your sexual appetite? Discuss it. You are in a relationship, you are in a courtship with someone you may get married to. Discuss how your feelings are, what arouses you, what interests you. Discuss these things. That's the truth. Don't feel as if we cannot discuss this. Doing this holier than thou one. When you get into marriage, you begin to see all kinds of rubbish and you begin to cry and complain. No. So, be able to discuss your sexual expectations maturely. Do premarital counseling. It's important. Don't say that I've read books. Books is good, but at the same time, being able to go for counseling during courtship is very, very important. Build friendship, not just the sex on the bed. Build friendship. Don't just rest on the feelings. Don't just rest on the chemistry that is drawing both of you together. Be able to build that ability to talk freely. Talk anything with each other. Let friendship be embedded in that relationship. Observe character under pressure. Yeah, under pressure. Because when he or she is not under pressure, he or she can be Mr. Right, can be the perfect one. But there are times you should you should observe the character he or she doles out when he or she is under pressure. You should understand what I mean by pressure. Marriage is safer when you study character, not chemistry alone. Don't just study, once I look at her, I'm attracted to her. Once I see her, I just want to pull off her dress. I just want to undress her. No. Observe character. And then for you that is married, it's very, very important that you should be able to talk honestly about intimacy. You don't just have sex with your wife and jump out and disappear. You don't just have sex with him or her and just jump out and go off. You just leave the lady there and you just walk away. Oh gosh. No, this is an error. As a married couple, you are the one who has sex in your hands, and you should be able to discuss your intimacy, discuss how it was, discuss where and what he touched or she touched that truly moves you. Be soft, be gentle with the other partner. Sex is not a transaction. It's not just about do and go. This is what is causing a lot of problems. Because when some persons go out there, they experience this ability to talk it out, to talk about intimacy, which so many of us married ones run away from. I don't know what is pursuing the married ones from intimacy talks anyway. So stop assuming your spouse should just know. Invest in learning each other. Remove comparison. Yeah, rekindle your emotional closeness. Boredom in marriage is usually emotional distance in disguise. When both of you have shifted base, you have moved aside without you even knowing that you have shifted base. So you don't, it's just an emotional distance in disguise. And let me say this clearly, self-control before marriage strengthens faithfulness after marriage. That's the truth. Self-control before marriage strengthens faithfulness after marriage. You don't suddenly become disciplined because you said I do. You become disciplined because you trained your appetite long before the altar. So, this Valentine, instead of tasting randomly, choose depth. Instead of sampling bodies, build intimacy. Yeah. Instead of chasing variety, master connection. And yes, one person can be enough, but only when you stop looking for perfection and start building partnership. Love is not about testing options. It is about cultivating what you choose. Think about that. Cultivate what you've chosen. This is Wisdom Q. I want you to reflect as we go off now. Reflect on, restrain, rebuild. And remember, appetite is a terrible leader. But a trained heart builds lasting love. Don't allow appetite lead you. God bless you and do have a beautiful day ahead.